For the best competitors in all sports, it doesn't take much for them to find a motivating factor to get ready for a competition. Well, for the Detroit Lions, this entire offseason, they have gotten nothing but bulletin board material to get them set for the 2024 season. And we're going to talk about it in this episode, folks. So stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So, folks, in today's episode, I'm just sitting down, I'm just talking to y'all. I'm just having a conversation as if, again, I was sitting right across from you, and we're just going to have a conversation about, what's going on right now. Because, let's call it for what it is. There's not a lot going on in the NFL world right now. Hell, to be entirely honest, most of the sports world, there's not really a whole lot of stuff going on. Unless you're really into baseball or you're into basketball. Otherwise, the sports world is kind of quiet right now. And when you think about the NFL offseason is a bit of an interesting predicament for some people because this is kind of the part of the offseason where it's like, hey, you know what? They want something to talk about, but there's not really anything to talk about. But I'll tell you this right now. For myself, there's always something to talk about, especially this offseason. I thought for some point of, early on in this offseason, I thought it was going to be very hard for me to try and make content at this point because I was like, you know what? The Lions have been able to kind of shake off, or at least I thought they were going to shake off some of what I would call the predispositions of opinions and different types of takes that have long been stuck to them over the course of the last, 20 years. However, though, surprisingly, that has not been the case. Surprisingly, for just as many people out there that have, given praise to the Lions for their offseason, their draft class, their different types of moves, there have been just as many people who have criticized, who have trashed, who have publicly decided to state that they do not think the Lions are going to do well this year. And for me, I thought, you know what, this is a rather interesting thought. This is a rather interesting topic. It's not necessarily a topic in the sense of news, but it is a topic in the sense of, hey, you know what? When you take a look at what the Lions are going through right now, they are, again, kind of they're not listening to what's going on outside their walls. They're not listening to everybody as far as the talk, the chatter, all the different opinions that are flying around. But I guarantee you this, they are definitely hearing it. They're definitely putting it in their Rolodex somewhere. They're definitely hanging it up on their bulletin board. They're definitely paying attention at least enough to say, oh, this is what certain people think about us. This is what certain people, opinionate themselves about us, what they view us as. Okay, we're going to keep that in the back of our minds. We're going to keep that as fuel, as, ammo for when it comes time to play these people, these teams that we're getting set to play later on. We're going to keep this information as, hey, you know what? You guys wanted to doubt us. You guys wanted to question us. You guys wanted to say, once again, we don't believe in you. We don't trust you. So, okay, this is where we're going to start this episode. Because for me, again, it would be one thing if I was sitting in the spot I am right now currently, and we were back at the beginning of 2021, where the Lions had just fired Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn a couple months prior. We had just hired Dan Campbell. We had just hired Brad Holmes. We had just traded for Jared Goff and traded away Matthew Stafford. It would be one thing if we were in that spot. But that's not the spot the Lions are in right now. That's not the spot that us Lions fans are in right now. Think about it, folks. We just literally, less than about a half a year ago, were in the conference championship game. We were up 17 points at halftime. We were a quarter away from getting to a Super Bowl. We have come so very far in three damn years. And yet, despite all the Lions' freaking achievements, there are still people who want to trash the Lions. There are still people who want to cast doubt. They want to cast this shadow on the Lions as if they are not good enough to be considered an elite team, as if they're not good enough to be considered able to go back to where they were last year and to take that next step to go to the Super Bowl. And we have seen over the course of this offseason various people who have either given small little jabs, which definitely, hey, okay, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna file that away somewhere for later. Or we have seen people who have made humongous mistakes and have opened their mouth and have said, oh, okay, fine. Now you definitely you've caught my attention. Now you have definitely caught the ire of people. And just think about this, folks. Let's go back to when the schedule got released, or around that time. Y'all remember the freaking Rams releasing their video where it showed freaking the Ford Field thing, and instead of it being Ford Field, it was called Stafford Field because they wanted to insinuate that it was Stafford's house, as if he was going to come in week 1 of this year and he was going to get revenge on the Detroit Lions? That I find kind of funny. I find that hilarious because it's like, wait a minute here. Did you or did you not, LA, come into Detroit last year for the wild card round, and did you or did you not lose? Did you or did you not lose 24-23? I seem to recall that game. I mean, I watched it. I literally saw it on television. And did you or did you not, Matthew Stafford and Kelly Stafford, get very salty with Lions fans, which you should have expected you were not going to get a warm welcome from, even though you were here for 10, 12 years. You are an enemy coming into our home turf. You ought to know better than that. But yet, Matthew Stafford and Kelly Stafford, as I talked about in a previous episode, way back, I'll put that episode link back up at the top, they wanted to get their freaking knickers in a twist because of how their children were supposedly treated. I can't verify or corroborate whether or not that happened, but it's like, dude, you should have known better going into that situation. So you already were butthurt about that, but then to start off before the season even gets started, you want to make a video, LA Rams fans, calling Ford Field Stafford Field. Okay, fine. We Lions fans have a pretty damn good memory. We're still holding on to crap from freaking back in 2014. We're still holding on to crap from freaking a decade plus ago. Don't think we're going to forget about what happened a couple of months ago. I can damn guarantee you that. That's just one example. Then, let's think about this, shall we? We also have a couple of months either before or after that, somewhere around the same time, when Packers fans and Packers GM decided to open his mouth and say, oh, well, we don't hang divisional championship banners at Lambeau Field. That was directly a kind of a slap to the face because it's like, okay, wait a minute here, Packers fan. Wait a minute here, Packers GM. I get it. You guys are the Packers. I get it. You guys have a very rich history of success. But what I find funny is that the one time the Lions actually win something, we hang a banner because, hey, it's something we accomplished. It's still a championship. But yet you want to put us down for it. You want to get on us because we decided to celebrate the fact that we won a division championship. Okay, how about we talk about all the things that you guys kind of won, but never were able to do anything with? How many division championships did the Packers win and yet never got to the promised land? Always ended in the division round, always ended in the conference championship game, never got to the Super Bowl. For all of the splendor that the Packers had while they had Aaron Rodgers, one Super Bowl was all they had. One Super Bowl trip, one Super Bowl win. That's kind of interesting in my opinion. So you want to get on the Lions for hanging a division championship banner, but yet how many championships, actual Super Bowls, did you win when you had Aaron Rodgers, the supposed GOAT of all time for you guys? Just put that in perspective before you come trashing our house, before you come trashing what we're trying to do, because, hey, we actually did win something. We were this close to getting to a Super Bowl. We don't come and, trash you guys for when you guys do something great, whether or not we agree with it or not. But yet you guys want to trash us. You guys want to get on us for when we win our first division title. Okay, that's interesting. And then what was even more interesting is that there was a Lions analyst. There was a Lions talk show host, I think he was in connection with 97.1 The Ticket, who actually agreed with that Packers GM. So it's like, wait a minute here. Not only are we getting guff from people that are across the freaking lake in the Packers GM and the freaking Packers fans in their organization, now we're getting it from local media who actually agree with the enemy? You gotta be kidding me. How in the hell is this possible? How in the hell can we have a Lions fan, a Lions analyst, or somebody that actually, works as somebody that talks in local media as a representative of supposedly being a Lions fan, agreeing with the Packers? Especially on something like that. Couldn't believe that. But then, obviously, there's more bulletin board material that's come out this offseason. There's more things that have provided adversity. There's more things that the Lions fans and the Lions organization can say, hey, let's use this as something to draw ourselves closer together. Let's use this as something to strengthen us, to make us even better. Think about how many times ESPN has come out over the last couple of weeks, days, months, whatever the hell you want to call it, and has publicly trashed or has said something negative about how the Lions have done their offseason or about how they don't think that they're ready for something. I mean, for crying out loud, let's go back to I think it was a week or so ago when everybody was talking about that one ESPN analyst that wanted to say, oh, the Lions had a horrible offseason just because they gave Jared Goff a $212 million contract. That's a very interesting thought, in my opinion, because wait a minute here. Jared Goff, been to a Super Bowl, been to 2 conference championship games, has a winning playoff record, holds multiple Lions passing records, is one of the best statistical quarterbacks in NFL right now from 2021, at least with the Lions. If you consider all the time since he's been in the NFL, he's still one of the best statistical quarterbacks. But yet, no sooner did the Lions give Jared Goff a $212 million contract, the Jaguars went out and gave Trevor Lawrence a $275 million contract. Made him the second, actually they tied him with the most highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now with Joe Burrow. He's making $55 million on average a year. And yet, the only thing that Trevor Lawrence has done is won 1 division title and 1 playoff game. Hasn't gotten to a conference championship game, hasn't gotten to a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence also leads the NFL out of all quarterbacks since 2021 with the most turnovers with 60. Yet somehow, you want, as an ESPN analyst, you want to freaking get on the Lions case because they gave Jared Goff, a quarterback over the last 2 years who's been top 10, top 5 statistically, got the Lions to within a whisker of going to the Super Bowl, who holds all of these different records either for the Lions franchise or also with the NFL themselves. You want to get on Lions for giving him $212 million, but yeah, I don't recall you saying anything about when Trevor Lawrence got $275 million. That's kind of interesting now, isn't it? So again, this is what I'm talking about. You have people out there that want to doubt, they want to throw shade, they want to trash the Lions for what they have done this offseason or what they did at the very end of last year, and it's like, why? Why do you do this? You already know it's going to come back to bite you in the proverbial and literal ass. You already know that the Lions are going to use this as motivation. They're going to use it as fuel to the fire to freaking bite more kneecaps off. Think about this, folks. Jared Goff has said it. Freaking Dan Campbell has said it. And it's been exemplified by how the Lions have played the last 3 years. The more you doubt the Detroit Lions, the more you overlook them, the more you try to put them down, the more resilient they're going to get, the more difficult they are to try and get rid of. Think about this, folks. Let's go back to 2021. How many damn times did the Lions beat the spread for the Vegas betting odds in terms of points? They beat it practically, like 9 times? There were a lot of people in Vegas that were losing money because the Lions were not, quote-unquote, doing what they were going to do. It wasn't until the very end or about halfway through that whole thing that people started picking up on the fact that, hey, maybe we shouldn't bet against the Lions in terms of the spread. Then you take a look at 2022. Lions start 1-6. There are so many people that are saying, oh, it's the end of Dan Campbell. It's going to be all done for freaking the Dan Campbell era. Yet, as much as people were trying to doubt on Dan Campbell, as much people were trying to doubt on Brad Holmes and the whole situation that the Detroit Lions were in at 1-6, what did the Lions do? They went from that dark place and then pulled off 8 wins out of 10, games and finished the year 9-8 and were that close to making the playoffs. And then on Monday Night Football completely eradicated the Packers' chances to go to the playoffs and ended Aaron Rodgers' career in Lambeau. And then in 2023, everybody thought that the Lions were most likely going to win the division. But I guarantee you this, other than maybe Lions fans, nobody thought the Lions had a realistic shot to get to the Super Bowl. They thought, yeah, they'll win the division. They might win a game in the playoffs. But they're not making it to the Super Bowl. They're not going to come anywhere close. And yet, like I've said, the Lions were one damn quarter away from getting to the Super Bowl. They literally went toe-to-toe with the damn 49ers, socked them in the mouth in the first half, and just about shocked the entire NFL world. But yet, like I said, over the last 3 years, the Lions have continually been doubted. They have been continually scrutinized. They have been continually overlooked. They have constantly had to deal with adversity. And every single time, the Lions have done one of two things. Every time they've gotten knocked down, they have gotten back up stronger, more resilient, and pushed on forward, and have gotten even better than where they were the first time around. Or the second thing that they have done is proven the doubters wrong by simply saying, oh, you think we can't do this? You think we're not capable of doing this? Okay, hold our beer. We're going to show you that we can. My whole point with this episode is this. Where did this episode come from? Well, here's the thing. I love watching various NFL TV shows, or exclusive TV shows that the NFL has put out. One of my favorite shows to watch is called America's Game. You guys all know about it. It talks about various Super Bowl winners in the season that they won the Super Bowl. I just got done watching the 2015 Broncos episode of America's Game. And that was a year that the Broncos went through a lot of adversity because they were dealing with injuries to a lot of big players of theirs, whether it was DeMarcus Ware, Peyton Manning, whatever the case was. But if you watch that episode, very early on, at the beginning of the season, when DeMarcus Ware is talking, he talks about how when he comes into the weight room, when they just gotten Gary Kubiak as their head coach, and he talks about there's this huge-ass banner that's hanging in the weight room, and it says, iron sharpens iron. I've used this phrase before, but DeMarcus Ware said something that truly made me realize something about how the Broncos of 2015 are also somewhat what the Lions are of 2023 going into 2024. He said, it's not only iron sharpens iron, it's one man sharpens another man. Think about this, folks. The Lions themselves are every single day using themselves as players to sharpen the other one, get each other better. But to further take that to another level, I guarantee you this, like what I've said with this episode, not only are the Lions players and the Lions organization, the Lions coaches, taking each other as players and as different members of the staff to get them better, they're taking that adversity, they're taking that scrutiny, they are taking that doubt, they are taking everything that is being said about them in a negative connotation outside of the organization, they're using it as bulletin board material. They are using it to give them fuel. They are using it to say, okay, you want to doubt us again? You want us to prove to you once again that we can play with the big boys, that we are one of the best in the NFL? Just keep doubting us. Just keep saying all the stupid crap you've been saying all offseason. It will just give us more ammo for when it comes time for kickoff against the LA Rams. And I guarantee you this, like I said, that whole Stafford Field nonsense, oh yes, I guarantee you the Lions have got a very, very nice surprise waiting for Matthew Stafford and the Rams when it comes time for kickoff on Sunday night. I guarantee it. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to make this episode because, as you all know, I've been doing a lot of response episodes for what people have been saying and doing about my Lions, and I am very, very prideful. I'm very protective of my Lions. But there have been a lot of comments where people have said, you know what, why do you let this get to you, David? Why do you let it get to you? It's because of that very reason. But somebody in the comments also said, you know what, David? Let them keep doubting them. Let them keep doubting the Lions because you know what? It's perfect bulletin board material. It's going to give the Lions more motivation. It's going to give the Lions more ammunition when 2024 comes around. And I couldn't agree more, and that's also a part of the reason why I made this episode. So, hope y'all enjoy this content. Hope y'all enjoy what I had to say. And with that being said, to end out June heading into July, I just want to say thank y'all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and forgot to do so at the time, I just want to also encourage y'all, please to subscribe. But also, after you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well. Also want to encourage y'all, please share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. And with that, I just want to say I hope y'all enjoyed the content. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope y'all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. And with that being said, God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.